There are two roads, Emo Kid. Which one will you choose?
Oh, no.
And one's the Hot Topic and one's the Hollister. And those are like the two choices you can pick. And Yellowcard was the Hollister one, and the Used and My Chem were the Hot Topic one. The Emo Social Club is reviewing records that we've been listening to for 20 years, records that we just found out about, bands we just found out about. We're reviewing all of them. Every record ever made here at the Emo Social Club.
There's maybe none off limits, arguably. Okay, maybe
There's some off limits.
A little bit.
We're staying emo, and if you're going to define that in the comments, go ahead. On today's episode, we are reviewing Ocean Avenue by Yellowcard. I think an album that we have had requested, but also that we have been listening to for the entire time it's existed.
Yeah, I think that this is just one that's always in at least a constant rotation for myself. So
Yeah. So before we talk very nicely about this record, Lizzie, tell us a little bit more background about Yellowcard and about Ocean Avenue, this album.
This was their fourth album, and it was released on Capitol Records. Came out on July 22nd, 2003, and was recorded with Neil Avron, who also recorded with Fall Out Boy.
Sure did.
They later went on tour with Less Than Jake and Fall Out Boy, so it all comes back together that same year. The singles off of this album were Way Away, Ocean Avenue, of course, Only One, and Breathing. This was number 23 on the Billboard 200 charts when it was released. Ocean Avenue, as the single, was certified double platinum, and Only One was certified gold. Lead singer Brian Key also said that essentially they wanted to go with a major label after their last previous EP. He felt that it wasn't distributed to enough places and properly. And I think honestly, it was for the better in the longer term. A lot of this album is also about more like personal hypothetical events that everybody has probably experienced at one point or another to a certain extent, but Believe is about 9/11.
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be. This came out in 2003. It was 2 years after it happened. So
Yeah, it really affected them down there in Florida.
you know, it just hit them differently. In 2011, this was pressed for vinyl for the very first time for the Hopeless Records, basically a box release set of Yellowcard and their albums over the years. This was repressed also in 2014 by Hopeless and Field Day Records as well in 2021. When this came out as well, they actually got a lot of mid-range reviews, like 2 to 3 stars critically, which is kind of crazy because a lot of it came down to during that time, Blink-182 and Simple Plan were the main points of reference.
Yeah.
So they were essentially saying, we already got this at home. We don't need another one, but we do actually. This also stood out to me. Again, our friends at Cleveland.com are back here.
I think Cleveland.com only reviews bands from Florida. I think that's what's happening.
I hope it's somebody who is from Florida and they just miss Florida and they just have too much power.
And they're like, Dear Cleveland, here's what's going on in Florida, and it's really good.
Well, Ocean Avenue is a single that was featured on Cleveland.com's list of top 100 pop punk songs. So good for you.
Thank you for that, Ohio, and nothing else. This record always felt to me like it was distributed highly through Hollisters.
Okay.
This was when I started to see the transition of emo. Like there was like the used side where you'd be more like wear all black and have like fingerless gloves and do makeup and smoke cigarettes and all that. And then this was the more like preppy kids with like popped neon polo collars and like would shop at Hollister and Abercrombie and Fitch and Aeropostale. And that's like, oh yeah, I listen to pop music like Yellowcard and Fall Out Boy. There are two roads, Emo Kid. Which one will you choose?
Oh, no.
And one's the Hot Topic and one's the Hollister. And those are like the two choices you can pick. And Yellowcard was the Hollister one, and the Used and My Chem were the Hot Topic one.
That's so crazy because Yellowcard to me has always just been a pop punk band. I would never associate it with Hollister Core ever.
I mean, this was, let's say 04, because that would be my senior year of high school. And like when emo was really starting to take off. So this record is a really popular one. Story of the Year, The Used, like all these bands are really getting a lot of attention. And so me being the guy who wears all black, all the people who were wearing like the polo shirts and like Fall Out Boy and Yellowcard were coming to me like, oh, you listen to emo, right? And I'd be like, yeah.
Not the
Yeah, I do. So I had to defend I had to defend emo from defend pop punk kids, I guess.
Damn, that must have been so trying.
I did it though. Look at us now.
I guess during my era, we would have just been defending against Cobra Starship.
Dance pop.
Yeah, got everyone at a certain point.
Yeah. Well, before we get into our thoughts and our opinions on this record, make sure to subscribe. We're reviewing every single emo pop punk record that's ever been released. So subscribe now. Get in early before we get to all of them.
It's never gonna end.
We have many more things coming to the channel, reviews. We got interviews over on the Emo Social Club podcast channel. All the links, all the details are down below.
Brian, have you ever listened to a song that's so devastating because you had a situationship and it just lingers for you for a long time?
If you're going to say Life of a Salesman, then no.
Well, that is one of my top tracks as well. I was talking about Only One. Only One is a song that really impacted me when I was in my junior to senior year of undergraduate in college in 2016.
That's way too far to have heard the song to have it affect you.
Well, okay, I will say it was more impacted because I'm stupid and we choose songs sometimes when you're involved with someone. You're like, this is our song.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I can't listen to Snow Patrol Chasing Cars anymore either.
That's also fine, though.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, we make logical mistakes when you do this, okay? During that time, I also went through a period where I just really only listened to Ocean Avenue on repeat for at least a semester, which was at least 3 months because we were on trimesters during that time. So I got very familiar with this album, and I think that it is such a coming of age tale. At least for my point in life, that is what I needed. I needed something to bring me out of the darkness and not be as stupid and depressed. And then here we are now.
Stupid and depressed.
Just on a different level.
Yeah, you never changed. When this record came out, I think I listened to it pretty constantly. I was in high school, and this is also like when, you know, I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to be making music. And so I had a guitar and I started to learn the chords to Ocean Avenue. I think this record was just like one of those linchpins to where MTV and big radio started to take notice of these rock songs that were doing really well among the kids, among the youth, and also taking off. I think just because we were looking for something different, and especially this band having a violinist and having something that other bands were absolutely not doing. This was something that, as a musician in high school and friends in orchestra and friends in the band and all that, we're like, oh my God, it's a pop punk band that has like a string instrument in it. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of string instruments in it, but yes, it has a violin. Yes.
But the one that's an odd one out here.
Yeah, the odd one out. I think this was just the right album, the right band at the right time when I was in high school. Like you said, it's a coming of age tale. A lot of these songs are about growing up and sort of getting out of your hometown a little bit, like the pop punk vibe, but also understanding where you've come from and where you're going and who's in your life and why they're in your life. Mm-hmm. And I think like Empty Apartment was one of those songs where you're like, I know I'm going to end up feeling this later because right now I'm, you know, a teenager and I still live at home with my parents and I'm going to go away to college, but I don't have an empty apartment because that'd be weird. I'm a child. I cannot rent right now.
Child.
I guess I was like, nah, I was 16 or 17 when this came out. So yeah, no.
You could have preemptively ran away early and had an empty apartment.
I can't. They wouldn't rent to boys.
To boys?
To young boys.
Whoa.
You know, I love this record. Even listening back to it, like every song stands out to me. It's, I think, something that has influenced, and we can talk about this later, but it's something that's definitely influenced a lot of the pop punk scene, and this record in and of itself is just such a pillar, a pinnacle of that time period that definitely stands the test of time. If you had to pick a couple songs you really like off of Ocean Avenue, and you can't pick Ocean Avenue.
Oh, I'm not picking Ocean Avenue as a
It's
single.
one of the best songs, but it's also
a good
like,
song, but it is.
You know we like it.
Yeah, every song on here is also very good. So I think my standouts is one of them is Life of a Salesman. Definitely. I just think the pacing of it is a little bit different, especially looking back on the time. And I think at that time as well, when I was listening to it, it was a little bit newer with that pacing of the song. So I thought it was a little bit more energetic.
Yeah, what's cool about that one is that it has those really fast punk drums in like what is essentially a pop rock record. Mm-hmm. And so it brings in a lot of like those old school influences that influenced a lot of the bands in the scene, and it's bringing it to a bunch of kids that have never heard this before but really like this band that's on MTV. So now you're like sneaking in those like really like fast pop punk parts. You're sneaking in those fast guitars and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I like it just for that. Lyrical content gets them in, and then you get to do all the like old school punk shit that you grew up on. And then you're just like,
hey kids, you know what you would like?
I'm teaching your kids how to play punk rock drums. L'Ingenue, come back. I'm gonna say Miles Apart because that song is like every time I listen to this record, that's one that I come away singing to myself afterwards when it's not on anymore. I'm like, I always have the chorus to Miles Apart stuck in my head. I think this record just has so many straight up pop songs on it that like if you walk away from this record and you're not re-singing one of the songs in your head or you don't have one of them stuck in your head, you didn't listen to the record yet. Like it's always so catchy.
I think with Miles Apart too, you hear more of that violin come out like so consistently through it. And that's what also makes it more standout-ish. That's funny too, because that's also my second that's on here. I did also really like Believe.
It's a good song.
Yeah. I just feel that it's like, it's catchy, it's infectious, it's a little bit heavier in topic as well. I don't know, it always just sticks with me. This is the song that kind of flows within after I stop listening to it, or it'll just pop back in my head because it is just so catchy.
It's just like everything, man.
I know.
I think this time View from Heaven really stuck out to me. It was like I stopped it because I had to do something, and then I put it like press play again. And I was like, you know what? Let me start View from Heaven over again. And I was like, this is a really good song. That it's a little bit later on the record, so maybe it's not one that sticks in your brain so much, but I like it. I'm gonna stand by it.
This one has that more like country twinge to it too. That I think some people, maybe in the emo pop punk scene, would be a little bit more standoffish.
It's like the Florida influence, the Southern Florida influence, where you're like, let's do something that our parents will like.
And they said we have to do it as a slow song too to make sure they're into it. I also think that the female male vocals too, dueling on this as well. Not dueling, but I think it kind of loans itself to that original vibe as well. And that's another one that does stick out to me too. I did have 23 on here too because I thought that was fun. Because I listened to that. That was because I started listening to this right before I turned 23.
Oh my God. That's awful to hear.
Sorry for you.
Painful. That's painful to know.
I'm so sorry for you.
Sorry for you, man.
We could talk about Only One or 23 because I listened to this right before I turned 23 and Brian's having an existential crisis about it. We could talk about Only One. I think that this is the most devastating love song.
It's an absolutely underrated song. Absolutely underrated.
I also remember when I was talking, because I've listened to Yellowcard, but the singles when I was in high school. And I remember being on a DACA trip. And one of my friends came up to me and said, have you listened to this band called Yellowcard? This is like 2012. And she said, oh, I have. And she played Only One and I played Ocean Avenue. And I said, oh, and we had never heard of either song at that point.
What's happening?
We were 17.
Was out. Yeah, so was I when the record fucking dropped.
In 2012.
This is killing me.
I think Only One is something that if it comes on, emotional disaster wreck. Not as bad, but I think that it's something that is very cute. And this might have been if you were that edgy Hollister kid and you said, oh, I have a secret emo boyfriend now. This was probably your song.
Yeah, it was.
Were you the secret emo boyfriend?
No, I was not. I just really like the song.
Oh,
I really
sorry.
like a good slow song on a record like this, and having the violin and the soaring vocals and the loud and soft parts. It's an underrated song and it needs to be heard more often. What an absolute banger that's up there with a lot of the best songs from this scene.
Truly. And I think because this is a slower song, but it's still high energy, which is also why I like it.
It's a big ballad sing-along.
But it's also just kind of devastating in the end. And I think that adds to it and just diversifies it from other love songs during that time. All right, Brian, do you have any hot and spicy takes?
Yeah, this might be the only good Yellowcard record.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I think that this record is just such a high point in their career. I haven't listened to another Yellowcard album all the way through and felt the same feeling I got on this one. They hit it so much on the head, so much at the right time that I just like Lights and Sounds is a great song. The record just like only has a few good songs on it. And I think like a lot of bands around this time, you had like either one really good record or one really strong popular record. And a lot of bands really struggled to find footing on the second one, you know, sophomore slump or comeback of the year. So I think that this is one of those bands where their career has been really built off the back of how good this album is. And they do have some very good songs that have come after this, but I do think this is the best and only good, full, from top to bottom, Yellowcard record.
Sheesh, I wasn't thinking you were going to go that
Sorry,
way.
Ryan. Someone who does not know who I am.
I mean, I think that we saw that happen a lot, as you mentioned, with some of these pop punk and emo bands, and we still see it happening where there's some bands that I don't feel ever really fully developed or moved on from their sound. And there's bands that have really stuck to it and ran with the same vibe since day one, like Newfound Glory, and they do very well in that area. But we've also seen bands mature from it and also perform very well. And while there's people who are against it, usually there's still area to grow and you're still going to have your fan base. But I do think, counterpoint, Lights and Sounds is very good. as an
great.
album. I think that was probably a very solid one. That not obviously a plus follow up, but something that is very catchy, bouncy, and listenable.
Is that your spicy take? You can't say anything bad about this record.
No, I don't really have anything bad to say.
Exactly,
Other than every song could be its own individual single. Honestly,
Okay, all right.
That's my only spicy take, and it's not even bad.
That's not a spicy take. It's just not at all. Those are our thoughts. Those are our opinions on Yellowcard and Ocean Avenue. This record is a record we'll keep listening to forever. Yeah. They've already been on the tour. We've already seen them on the tour. So not much else to say about a record that has been around for 20 years and is very successful and is the only band with a violin in it. Mumford & Sons, you're on notice.
They actually don't exist anymore. It's a fake band, you know.
Yeah.
It's just created out of the imagination of everybody in the world.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you hate it? Are you a fan of us and what I've said about their full career and not just this record? Let us know down in the comments. Many more reviews, all types of reviews, all types of things to think about these albums. And you need to let us know what you think as well. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to let us know. But until Yellowcard and until Ocean Avenue, the fucking 30 or some shit.
Jesus.
We'll see you there.